I think the magic of Sunrise is that once you kind of start the journey, you, without a lot of, kind of coordination from others, you find your way in how you want to participate, and you walk out of that feeling stronger yourself and wanting to do more.
Welcome to the Sunrise Magic Makers podcast. I'm Melissa Carley, and I will be sitting down every episode to talk with the incredible people who have helped bring the magic of Sunrise to children with cancer and their families for the last 20 years. Today, I'm joined by Gary Raisig, an inspiring supporter of Sunrise, who sits down to talk to us about the magic and power of community. Well, hi, Gary.
Hi, Melissa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're so glad you're here today. Thank you for joining me. We're really, really excited to get to know you and your Sunrise story a little bit.
Happy to be here.
So before we really jump into it, can you tell me a little bit about how you were introduced to Sunrise and kind of what you see your role here as a Sunrise Magic Maker?
Sure. Little did I know, in, I guess, early 2019, I was working for a previous financial institution. I'm a commercial banker, and one of our top clients was getting moved into my portfolio, and the other banker said to me, listen, if I can give you one piece of advice on this client is make sure you take care of his charity. This was Steve Marcus.
I didn't know that.
So in
I know Steve well.
Our early meetings, meeting about his business needs, we also brought Sunrise up, and he said, I think Capital One was the previous institution, said, I think they give some money, not much more than that at the time. So I got the clues, and I ended up meeting Aileen Hoffman soon after, got coffee or lunch or whatever it was that day, and that started, what ended up being, at this point, a 6-year journey, started humbly, and I looked for ways to maybe increase the donation level that we were going to give. That said, I then attended the walk, which was her ask, and sort of started to fall in love with Sunrise at that point. And it only sort of built from there. And this was right before the pandemic, and the pandemic then allowed us, Aileen and I, continued conversations, but we were informed that everything had started to slow down. Donations slowed. People were concerned about a recession and, started to keep their money in their pockets a little bit more at that time. And also donations weren't going to kids' causes and cancer causes. They were going to COVID-related. And I started to figure out, how can I get more involved? I've always donated money and time to a lot of organizations. I remember going to my wife and saying, I want to lean in a little bit more to Sunrise. And that was sort of the early stages, I would guess, with Sunrise.
Yeah. So Aileen always tells the story of you calling her from your Peloton, that you were so excited with your new idea for Sunrise. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. That's become a somewhat famous story.
Yes.
Again, we're all in weird times. I just had, my daughter had just been born, in COVID. What I didn't tell you earlier was in 2018, I had gotten diagnosed with melanoma. So cancer was very much on my mind at the time. And children, have always been on my mind, but especially in this case when you're going to have a daughter and then you do have a daughter. Yeah. So Sunrise sort of came into my life at a really good time as well. So a month or two into COVID, my gym routine was gone. A lot of my routine was gone. I had ordered a Peloton to try to build some routine. So it got delivered, and I remember probably a week or two into using it, because that then became my obsession. They added a feature on Peloton where you can add hashtags. So what I started to see was, hashtag XYZ Corp Cares, or different things like that. And very simply, I said, I wonder if they have some type of, I wonder if banks are doing it or Sunrise is doing it, any type of campaign for endurance. Sounds simple, seems like it would be used, already. And I started to frame out what I thought that could look like and how I could get my current organization involved. And I left feeling whatever song was on felt good. Like, you know how when you have a good idea or you think you might, everything, the sun is shining that day.
Yeah.
Maybe COVID, maybe the news wasn't as negative, because remember, we're living in very negative times. People that, I'm a people person, and we didn't see employees for, months on end. You maybe in some cases didn't see your family. So I called her all excited, and I said, this might be, you might have this already. This might be the stupidest idea, the simplest idea. It's not rocket science. However, hear me out. And she said, Gary, there's no stupid ideas. I feel your energy, and I'm excited for it. So I said, why don't we do something? I haven't spoken to my organization yet, but I think I can get some buy-in on our side. Can we do something with Sunrise where we, maybe for a month, calculate whether it's miles on the bike or walking or running or swimming at the time, add that up as a way to bring people together. I said win-win-win. I'll say it again in this conversation again. I say it to Aileen all the time. But can we build a win-win-win where we raise awareness and raise funds for Sunrise and the kids, where we also help our employers and bring people together, maybe create a little competition, because we haven't seen each other in months.
Yeah.
So how do you do something and maybe form some teams and bring people back together in that way? And then how do you do it in a way that the organization also, and you as an individual, looks good? I would say it looks good to do good. So how do we then, because now you're marketing yourself in the business world, you start marketing yourself a little bit more electronically, LinkedIn and otherwise. How do we put those good vibes into the market to help raise funds, raise our business prospects, all in the name of Sunrise? And she came back and said, Gary, I don't know why we haven't done anything like this before, but we really haven't. So I felt fulfilled.
Yeah, as you should.
We got off the phone, and she said, and I said, but it's a lot of work. And then I began the process of going through. It was a fairly large top 10 bank in the country that you have to go through legal clearances, compliance clearances, all that type of thing. Especially in this case, you're relying on, raising funds by employees as much, if not more, than the organization.
Yeah.
Because my plan was post it on social media, get donations from friends and family, maybe donate a little bit yourself, and then have the support of your organization behind you. And that was the general premise and sort of the genesis of what we call then banking your miles, which I'm very excited to say continues on at a new organization, and we're calling it banking your time, because we've included other activities like reading and other things we'll talk about later.
Yeah. What about friendship bracelet making?
I'm going to add that to the list. And you know what? I am slacking, so I am going to pick this up a little bit.
Well, I love that initiative, and it's still going strong after, 5 years now, so.
Maybe stronger than ever. I'm hoping.
I love that.
Fingers
I know.
Crossed.
I just hear the most wonderful things about the entire initiative, so thank you for that.
Of course.
So I told you before we sat down that I like to pick my word on my friendship bracelet based off of the conversation that I think we're going to have.
Sure.
And so today it says community on it. Because you and I spoke a little bit before we sat down and talked about how Sunrise for you, especially the walk, is kind of like this wonderful place for your personal community to be.
Oh, absolutely.
And I would love to just kind of hear again from you what that looks like for you, what that means.
Community is a perfect word for it. It becomes a little bit of a hub. And anyone, I now am on the corporate walk team, right, to try to bring businesses in. What I tell people all the time is this is a way to bring all aspects of your life together for an amazing cause, right? We're here for the kids. We're here to support those that support the kids. But you're also here to kind of find out who your tribe is or who your people are, right? So is it your immediate family? Is it your friends? Hopefully on June 8th, I'll come to the walk and you guys will meet my immediate family, my kids.
Yeah.
I have friends from elementary school that I'm still friends with that'll be there with their families. There'll be, neighbors, my in-laws, my nieces and nephews, my sister and brother, but also business connections, that I've made over the years. Hopefully a couple hundred people potentially from my current financial institution that have fully embraced, Sunrise over these last couple months and are super excited to join. So where is that place and time, or where is that meeting place or spot in the community where you can bring all these different people together? And then obviously you're meeting new people, Sunrise friends. It's rare.
Yeah.
And if you can do it and sort of lead with your heart in doing it, people see that and they see what matters to you. It helps raise money, yes. It helps raise awareness, yes. But I think it also, people start to really believe who you are as a person, but also what your sort of mission is, and then tangentially what the mission of the organization truly is.
Yeah.
Which is put good people together, do good work for, kids that are less fortunate than you, until we get to that point and find a cure. I love when Arnie says this, and then we can shut the doors.
Yeah.
But that'll be a happy day that we shut the doors.
I completely agree. I love the way that you talk about the walk and bringing people together. It's also one of my just favorite days of the year. Yeah. I bring my kids out, I bring my friends out, and it's kind of like this really cool chance to sort of almost like show off this thing in your life that you're so passionate about to the people who matter to you.
Yes.
And especially, I feel like you probably feel the same way. Having my kids there and being able to show them this is what we're working for, it's just such an amazing moment. And, my littlest one is really little, but my older one is starting to get it a little bit now.
I think our kids are around the same age.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
So I know you've brought your kids out to the walk, and can you just talk a little bit about having your immediate family there? What is that for you? I
love it. The walk is something that we look forward to. We actually plan around it a little bit. My wife's birthday is usually a couple days before, days after the walk. So we typically go to Montauk the weekend of her birthday. So sometimes we move that week around to accommodate the walk. For me, though, it's something that is, this is about kids. This is about teaching. This is about, development of people around you and family. And for me, especially for my daughter who just turned 5, it's about her seeing other people doing good, maybe starting to understand a little bit as to helping somebody that's less fortunate than you, what that looks like, and just caring about something and a cause. And I'm hoping what she picks up in me is my passion for it, and can start to develop the quick twitch muscle reflex to be able to do that and stand up for people that are less fortunate. We have a lot of fun, so it's framed within a carnival setting, a walk. She's got a lot of friends herself there and cousins and other things. So what could be a day of face painting and, playing around and having fun, also I think then comes with an extra meaning. And we were talking earlier about she loves to be on stage and performing, and there's a lot of stages. Yeah. And there's a lot of potential for performing. One of the promotional videos that Sunrise has been using, I think she's in it twice. So I go and show her that, and she gets all excited. Just hyping her up for June 8th.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys have been on the big stage at the walk.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll ask those in power if we could do that again this year.
I would imagine that you have a very good chance of it.
Let's hope. My son, who's going to be 2 in July, we're waiting for the day that he's going to say, hey, it's my turn.
Yeah.
So we'll see how big the stage is.
We have room, don't worry.
That's fine.
I love everything that you're talking about, and I would love to kind of talk about a little bit of the other piece of this, the Sunrise piece outside of the community, but kind of what we're doing here, and what really drew you to Sunrise? Is there something here, again, like we're talking about Sunrise magic, and I love hearing from different people. What do you see as the Sunrise magic? And, I kind of went into this thinking I was going to get similar answers from everybody, but I'm finding that they're actually very different.
Yeah.
how everybody kind of views what we're doing here and what is the thing that makes them so passionate. So your thoughts on that?
I think the magic or the secret sauce or whatever it is the quality of the organization, the quality of the people. It starts with Arnie. It goes down to camp counselors who come and bring passion for the kids. And I encourage anyone who hasn't been to one of the camps to go to a camp.
Yeah.
You'll walk away, you'll partially feel sad. You'll have that mixed range of emotions. But for some reason, and this is the magic, and I'm sort of getting chills now, so that must be, I don't know if it's the magic or the temperature in the room, or the lack of bracelet building that I'm doing, is the ability for you to walk away feeling better than you came, even though you're in a spot that can be really challenging. You might have a tear down your eye at some point, but 95% of the time you walk away with any interaction with Sunrise, the people, the kids, the community, feeling better about yourself. And I think some of the magic is the more you put in, the more you get out of it. I sometimes describe it as and let me get this right, the most selfless act you can give is the time that you commit to, in whatever form or fashion that you're committing to Sunrise. So for me, the magic, besides the community, besides bringing people together in my life, maybe that wouldn't come together except for a wedding or a funeral or something, is the ability for the people and the power of Sunrise to be able to be there, and how it makes you feel and how it then turns you into wanting to do more. Remember, I got introduced at a time when I just come off a cancer diagnosis. I was having a kid. And I felt like my efforts in the community were a little bit scattered. I mean, I still participate in other things, but I wanted sort of that one North Star.
Yeah.
And I think the magic of Sunrise is that once you kind of start the journey, you, without a lot of, kind of coordination from others, you find your way in how you want to participate. And you walk out of that feeling stronger yourself and wanting to do more. And I think some of the magic is in that, right? So I credit you guys, I credit the people for being, I guess, welcoming, and also in allowing us to sort of do it our own way. I didn't come in and necessarily want to do it exactly the same way. I said, hey, I have an idea, will you guys join me? And it's been nothing but yeses, from that point forward, because I think they know that at the end of the day, I'm trying to raise awareness and do good here.
Yeah.
So magic, it's a kind of couple-fold here, but at the end of the day, I think the magic is the way that you give energy and you receive energy back as you do it. So I highly recommend anyone that's thinking about getting more involved with Sunrise to please lean in, reach out to me. You're not giving energy, you're going to end up getting more energy than you give.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back a little bit. Because I want to make sure that we talk about this. It's really just so important right now. We talked about your Banking Your Time campaign.
Yeah.
And it seems to be just such like a passion project of yours. And I think that's just wonderful. I love when people outside of our organization find a project within us here at Sunrise. I just think it's so wonderful. And like we said, you're kind of 5 years into this journey. And I want to hear a little bit about where it is right now.
Sure. Well, it's live now. We started March 31st. We do a month-long campaign, so through the end of April this time. We changed it a little bit. We're calling it Banking Your Time instead of Biking Your Miles, because we opened it up to more activities. So when I was being hired at this institution, this was one of the things that I referenced is my passion for Sunrise and at least the openness for them to hear me out to build up something that I felt like was the win-win-win scenario. And so October and November, I brought it up. We got Aileen and now Nancy involved. And we've basically built it where I'm going to say 3/4 of the bank has participated or is participating. Wow. And we framed it so that it would be more inclusive to more people as, yes, endurance campaign, but also could be a passion play. What do you want to do, but maybe don't get enough opportunity to do. Maybe it's bracelet making.
Yeah.
Maybe it's reading. Maybe it's baking or cooking. So we wanted to make it more of a miles, of a time thing versus a minutes versus miles. Yeah. So we're off to an amazing start. I can't give any final, figures and tabulations, but I do expect and hope that we can kind of create an all-time record here for participation. We've created, I think it was 29 teams. We have hundreds of people involved. We have some, like I've seen in the past, sort of outliers. We were talking before about people doing something a little different at Sunrise. What's nice within this campaign is people have gotten creative. So yes, you got people walking and running and doing these type of things. I'm personally doing something called rucking, which is
never heard of that.
weighted vest walking.
Oh wow.
And hiking. I'm still doing my Peloton, mixed in, but I started that a couple months ago. So I said, okay. They got me little magnets for it because it's weighted vest. So I'll post something and with the rucking vest on. But it's going really well. I think it's being received well from an employee engagement perspective. From the fun perspective, we're doing fun contests baked into it. Yeah. Simple things, word searches, what's the best team name, things related to who's raising the most money, who's done the most activities, of course. But I think it's bringing people together that may be going back to the community and getting everyone involved. Maybe people that wouldn't normally speak or maybe wouldn't speak that much. And that's a big thing for me, is kind of bringing down the barriers to communication. And if something like this, where we're doing it for a good cause, can get people, we're doing Mondays and Fridays, people are walking in our parking lot
that's great.
at the office, getting together. And again, maybe some pre-existing friends, but maybe some new people that are becoming friends along the way. I think we'll get a lot of these people to come to the walk in June.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
So again, if we can raise a lot of money, if we can get a lot of attention for Sunrise, in the process, because now all these people are becoming passionate. And I was telling you how they're sort of branching out a little bit. We have people doing bake sales. We have people posting baking and cooking videos on TikTok and Instagram and other things and getting their users and followers to donate money to them. Nice. But we're now opening up all of the potential people that maybe were a little bit aware of Sunrise. Maybe they were very aware but didn't do anything about it, or maybe they weren't aware at all, and now we're kind of being able to capture their attention also. Yeah. So this campaign will go to the end of April. We'll tabulate the results. We'll announce it at that point, but we exceeded our goal. I think I can say this. We exceeded our goal before the campaign started. Wow. Just by going out, again, to our social media outlets and saying, hey, this is coming. And, now I'm getting a lot of updates on the fundraising, but also the activity-driven stuff. Hey, want to go for a walk? It's for Sunrise. Or you want to do this, or you want to meet on the weekend, or I'm going to bring in, we have somebody that's making flan, and that, in their community, and they're making flan, and they're going to post videos on it.
That's so cool.
So a lot of really fun. We got a local pizzeria that in our main office that we order from often, and they're donating a percentage of their sales. This is all within one campaign, but it kind of is this catch-all for people's creativity for a month. So I'm loving to see how it evolves. Yeah. And that's something that's kind of special for me too, is to see, okay, I had my little idea, but to see other people see it a little differently and expand on it. And as it, ebbs and flows, I mean, it's very fulfilling for me. And then to get, my employer to be so supportive and backing has been amazing.
That's wonderful. I love that. And it's just such an amazing opportunity for all different types of people with different passions to come together for one thing.
And we're going to eat good for the month also. Yeah. So we need the energy, right? We're out there doing, walking with weighted vests. We need the carbs. Yeah. So that's being provided.
That's awesome. And then hopefully they're all going to come out to the walk.
And then hopefully they come out to the walk.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do the longer path.
Yeah, that would be great. I loved you actually, I remember when we last spoke, you made a comment about the walk in your brain kind of being like the new company picnic. And it's such an awesome perspective on it.
It is. we're going to get shirts made. It sort of acts, and one of the things I've worked with Sunrise on is to be able to sort of start to share this with other corporations.
Yeah.
And say, because you guys do a lot of the work behind the scenes. We built an app for this, and a lot of the path has been worn, so it becomes very easy for other corporations to come in and sort of mimic this or do some version of this. So we're starting to see a lot of nice traction. And I think the end result, again, going back to the win-win-win, is this becomes something that your company most likely is going to want to do as an annual event. So, we raise money, we do this, everyone comes together, and then there's this culmination at the end, which feels very much like a company retreat or a company picnic, and you get to show off. And, you take the big picture in a great outdoor setting, and everyone's got, the T-shirts on, and it's, your work family and maybe your personal family and friends together. And it's a great kind of capstone to, the raising funds season, spring and summer, and a great kickoff, I think, in general to the summer.
That's great. So I feel like we could keep talking just all day long. But I'm glad to know that you're part of our Sunrise family. So this will not be the last time we cross paths, for
Looking
sure.
forward to it.
But thank you so much for being here today and everything that you're doing to bring the Sunrise magic. And looking forward to seeing you and your family at the walk.
We are excited, and thank you, Melissa. And looking forward to meeting your family too.
Yes, absolutely. We'll get the kids together at the walk.
Perfect.
And just enjoy your spring, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much.
All right.